Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. I trust you are feeling as well as you can be in this moment, despite whatever circumstances may be afflicting you. If there are any difficulties you're facing, I hope you know that this too shall pass, and hopefully you can find a way in which these experiences will only enhance your journey in the long run. I'm sure that you'll be able to grow, heal, and learn from it, no matter what. If you want to share how you're feeling, I'd love to know what kind of space to hold for, what kind of feelings to hold space for, I should say. If you want to, of course. But our first guests are joining now. Welcome, dear Nigel, Gwendolyn, Priya, and thank you for sharing the live, by the way. Hello, dear Qualia. Nice to have you here. As I said, I'd love to know how you're feeling. Hello, Neon Jello Pack. You're feeling relaxed, Gwendolyn, Priya. I'm happy to hear that. How am I feeling, asks Neon Jello Pack. Thank you for asking. At this moment, I'm feeling calm and relaxed. I had a little bit of a challenging night with my sleep medication. I don't think I took enough, as my body would have preferred, but I'm feeling much better now. Happy to be here. Very grateful to be here, actually. I always feel better when I do these sanghas. Hello, dear Daniel. May we start with a nice deep breath. Hello, dear Crossfires. You are early for once. Yes, you're right on time. Neon Jello Pack, you're very sensitive to sleep medication. You feel like you've been hit by a truck the next day. Yeah, I know what you mean. Namaskaram, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis. These sanghas are one of my favorite constants in my life at this time. That said, no one's presence here is ever expected to be constant. Everyone is welcome to come and go as they please. Dear Daniel, you're wondering, how is my life lately? My life has been opening up in many new ways. Opportunities abound. As the days get longer, I can feel the effect of having more sunlight, daylight. It's nice. But generally I've been feeling very content, very relaxed. What about you? Dear Crossfires, you were wondering, how was my date? I don't think you caught the joke then. Last night when I said I had a date, it was when I transitioned to reading Rumi. And I had a date with the poet, Rumi. And we read some of his poetry together. It was very lovely, very romantic as always. That's all good. Of course, dear Diano. Hello, hand fingers. Hello, Mirto. We shall see, dear Heather. Thank you for your kind words, dear Daniel. I think we all deserve peace, health, and happiness. Thank you, dear Derek, for your trio of tiny dimies. Yippee! Dear Spinuda, you share after getting dumped from a lot of people you love. You are insecure now that others will leave you too. I know exactly what you mean, dear Spinuda. And you're not alone in that. When we feel rejected, we can judge our character for that, come to the conclusion that it must mean that there's something wrong about us, something that needs to change. But whether another person lets us in on their life is mostly a reflection of what they're going through. Part of their mind, their heart, their body's needs, boundaries, wants. That says more about them than it does us. And that's okay. Every experience we have, every relationship is meant to be for the duration that it is. And we can learn and grow from each experience and still feel that love remain with us. Just because we don't spend the rest of our life together doesn't have to imply that somehow that experience wasn't valuable or that the love you had wasn't real. Absolutely, these experiences are both real and valid. And each breakup is a chance to bring us ourselves some love, take care of this body and mind, a chance to rediscover our independence, for example. And thank you, dear Neon Jello Pack, for your 25 crystal roses. How beautiful. I've never received a crystal rose before. That's very kind of you. Very fitting with the snowy, icy landscape that's around my house at the moment. Om Dham Namaschandraya. Thank you, dear hand fingers. Yeah, my night has been going well. Thank you. Myrto, you ask if I believe in zodiac signs. I'm not sure I would use the word belief, and not just for zodiac signs, but for many parts of life. Is that it's not that I believe or disbelieve in anything per se, but I'm on a continued journey to understand the truth in it. And there are things that I've spent a long time with, and those things I've learned to see more truth in. When it comes to astrology, I'm still on the precipice of understanding it. I don't know enough to see a lot of the deeper truths in it. And I would love to learn more. Hello, dear Talon. Yeah, as Crossfire shared to Spinudha, you are so not alone with that. Breakups are never easy, but we can be easier on ourselves. Well, thank you, dear Antonia. Smududa, you share, letting people go is so hard. Yes. Yeah. Indeed. All in the right timeline. Teresa, you share, it still hurts like hell sometimes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And that pain never really goes anywhere, but we do grow. And we learn more tools to process that pain, carry it, make the load a little lighter, expand our hearts. Thank you, brilliant genius, for the rose that you sent. Om Ganganapatay Namah. Gwendolyn Priya, you share your experiences with rejection have taught you how to love yourself more. Thank you for sharing that. I'm happy to hear that. And Daniel, you share, we just have to remember, we are the universe in its entirety and its sole observer. Very beautiful, non-dual perspective. Hello, Anna Music Note. There's always more to discover, shares Heather. Yeah. Neon Jello Pack, you share you're having a hard time moving on from the hurt you feel from someone you care about being abusive. I don't blame you at all. That is a challenge that requires a lot of care and attention and self-forgiveness. Thank you for asking, Anna Music Note. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hello, Myra. Hello, Mermaid You. Yeah, emotionally and Psychologically. Yes, dear Nyanja back. Physiologically too, I'm sure. Thank you, dear brilliant genius. I'm happy to have you here. I hope you've been super busy in a positive way of purposeful and meaningful endeavors. Myrto, you were wondering about betrayal. Yeah, the feeling of betrayal is absolutely a challenging emotion. That we trusted someone and they went behind our backs, or they turned out not to be our well-wisher, but were serving their own self-interests, and they went behind our backs, or they turned out not to be our well-wisher, but were serving their own self-interests, and thank you for your patience. Please let me know if my connection has returned. I think it disconnected for a second. Am I back? I'm back. I don't know how much of what I said about betrayal came through, but I really like what Daniel added. If someone betrays you, they are betraying themselves. Yeah. Thank you, dear Roxy, for the rose you had sent. Om Hrim Namah Shakti Shivaya. And Code Man, thank you for your rose. And tiny. Yahoo! And Bobby Sue, thank you for your heart me, team bracelet, and cheer you up. Ram Ram. Hello, dear Amma. Thank you, Walya. Om Namah Shivaya. Gwendolyn Priya, you share, when it comes to others, letting go of your fantasy of who they are is often harder. Yeah, I think we can easily become attached to what we choose to see in the other person, even if what we choose is only a possibility rather than something which is currently manifested. It's a beautiful thing to hold space for what's possible in another person, as long as we do so continuing to love the person as they are presently without expectation. Or if who they are presently is harmful in some way, that we set the right boundaries. And Daniel, you add, if you take revenge on someone, you're taking revenge on yourself. I really like your logic with the universal self. Yeah. Very insightful. And thank you, dear Anna, for your rose. Jaya Sita Ram. Dear Connor, you've just signed up for the Self-Realization Fellowship, and you're really excited about getting into the teachings of Yogananda. Oh, I'm very happy for you. I'm sure you'll very much benefit from the science of Kriya Yoga. Dear brilliant genius, you share indeed. It has been busy in a positive way. New opportunities and wonderful friends around you. I'm happy to hear that. I'm sorry that it's so late for you, dear Anna Music Note. Anna, you also share that betrayal taught you a lot about yourself and your morals. There's certainly a teaching to be had there. I appreciate your vulnerability and honesty, dear Gwendolyn Bria. I can relate with you a lot too. And thank you, dearest G to Infinity, for sharing the live with more than 5 friends. Dear Daniel, you're wondering, how would I label my worldview? Do I think it has a name? Do I think I have a worldview that can be under the umbrella of a name that already exists? Probably not. I think my experience is very unique, and everyone's is in their own unique way. But I do draw from a lot of places. None in particular would define it per se. I'm just me, and I try to have a more inclusive worldview. Everything that I experience, I hope to expand my worldview to include, rather than trying to fit into my worldview to contain. Dear Neon Jello Pack, you think you feel a lot of shame for putting up with the abuse for so long. You really betrayed yourself. Oh. Yeah, I hope you can let that go on your own timeline. Yeah. You held out hope. You chose to see what's possible. And I know a lot of people go through that and end up feeling like they should have done something differently a long time ago. But that's growth. When you finally get to that point, it has taken exactly how long it's taken, because that's how long it needed to take for that realization to happen. Now you know what to do going forward. You can forgive yourself by taking that healing journey now. Of course, the best time to plant a tree is 40 years ago. But the second best time is now. You can forgive yourself for not planting a tree 40 years ago by planting it today. Dear Caleb, you ask, when was the first time I thought of spirituality? Well, having a mother that is spiritual, I've been acquainted with spirituality for a long time. Good night, dear Anna Music Note. To the person who was making a joke about a holy shit. It's funny how we turn taboo these experiences of the body, which everyone does, and then sometimes we can look to provoke others by making the connection between something that's taboo and something that's divine. I think that's a reflection of the society we live, where we see certain things as gross and other things as wonderful. But we don't have to divide the world in such a way, as the divine does exist within everything equally. It exists within the hearts of holy people just as much as it exists within the hearts of mischievous people, shall we say. It exists within the holiest of temples, as it does exist within the porcelain temple. There's actually a saying in Sanskrit that's translated to, the light that reflects in a puddle of pee is no less pristine as it was when it first came from the sun. No matter how dirty the waters are, no matter what is contained by the water, the light itself remains pure as it reflects off of them. And that's the same with the divine. And thank you, dear Regina, for your heart mate. Michelle. Hello, Key. Nice to have you here. Dear Anna, you share there's something in my teeth. Is there? Let me zoom in. Oh, yeah, there is. Thank you. I think it's a piece of a walnut. As that's the only thing I ate today. A bunch of walnuts. Thank you, dear Harisi, for your heart meat. Team bracelet and cheer you up. Om Dham Namaschandaraya. Dear No, you ask if your comment went against the community guidelines. I don't know. Neither I nor any moderator have the ability to remove comments. That's on TikTok's side. If your comment didn't come through, then you can try rephrasing it in some way. There are all sorts of shadow filters that can get the best of you. But please be patient and try phrasing things in another way if your comment doesn't come through. Dear Walia, you're wondering, where am I from? I'm from Canada. Hello, dear Sylvia. You sure I look so young again without the beard? Does it make men feel more mature, or how does it work? Well, I can't speak on behalf of all men, but for me, I enjoyed the experiment. I had never grown a beard before, so I wanted to try it out. I can definitely say that after shaving it, my face does feel more bare. I feel more exposed in that way. But I like the look of my face no matter what, and I hope you do too. Crossfires, you're wondering about the kind of spirituality that my mother was into. Nothing in specific. Nothing in particular. She's a connection with nature. Yeah. She feels connected to the moon, to nature, to animals. She's just a spiritual person, no tradition of spirituality. Dear Regan, you are just bullied by people that you thought were your friends. Yeah, that's a good definition for friends. People who don't bully you. I pray that you find friends that are there for you, comfort you, console you, bring out the best in you. The universe is with you, shares Silver Oliver. Not just that, the universe is a part of you. Dear King Mikey, you're wondering, do I think it's actually possible to escape eternal reincarnation like the yogis say we can? I take it to be more metaphorical, that we escape the cycle of identification with each incarnation, that we're always part of the universe in some capacity, but we stop the cycle of identification, that what you are is any part in particular of material existence, that you are a ray of light from that ineffable source, seeing the universe from one perspective, but that no perspective defines who you are, and there's always a change of experience, but not a change of the experiencer. Welcome, dear Noor, and thank you, Haley Queen, for the heart me you had sent as well. Om Som Surya Namah. And Giuliano, thank you for your TikTok, Rose 2025 and Ice Cream Cone. Never expect it, but appreciate it. Om Dom Durgaya Namah. Dear Daniel, you ask, what do I think the best thing is we can learn from Paramahansa Yogananda? There are so many wonderful things we can take inspiration from in the life of Paramahansa Yogananda. What stuck out how am I saying this? What stuck out most to me, what struck me the most was his openness, his availability to miracles. Is that he never once doubted the divine. That he would go on a train with no money at all and trust that the Divine Mother would take care of him wherever he landed, wherever he got out. That he would go places without preparing at all. He wouldn't pack food, water, he just knew that the divine would bring everything he needed for him. He had that kind of faith, the kind of faith that could move mountains. Dear Okay, It's Believe in Me, Jackie, you ask, what does Nama mean again? Nama means salutations in Sanskrit. Salutations. It's often used in mantras. Om Namah Shivaya means Om, salutations to Shiva, to the auspicious one. Those can be very confusing questions from a spiritual perspective indeed, dear Anna. Who am I being? Who is speaking with my voice? We are always channeling from different parts of our experience. And our being exists on many levels: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Dear Gwendolyn Priya, you have prayed for miracles and received them. It's amazing. I'm very happy to hear that for you. Dear Okay, It's Believe in Me, Jackie, you wonder what I do when not sharing my kindness and time with you. Hopefully sharing my kindness and time to my friends and family, and to this body and this mind, and my two cats, Sandy and Shadow. Good evening, dear Arthur. Dear Stevie G, you're wondering, is there a show and tell today? Yes, there is, and this would be a great segue to the show and tell we have today. Let me prepare it for you. Today, we have a show and tell that comes from my friend Rahulji, who is the podcast host of the Bearded Mystic podcast, which I've been on several times by now. This is a video that he sent in by the recommendation of Sky Guardian. It's got many layers to it. We'll be watching him, as a Hindu, react to a Sufi Muslim imam speaking at BAPS, which is a Hindu organization centered around the devotion of Swami Narayan. It's a 12-minute video, I believe. Yes, 12 minutes, 58 seconds, 13 minutes. And I look forward to watching it with you, but also within you. Woo! The secondary title for the show and tell is The Beauty of Interfaith with the Sufis, whom are mystics of Islam. We've been reading from one mystic, which is Rumi, who is a very prolific poet from the 13th century. But the title I've given up here is the name of the YouTube video if you want to watch it in your own time. Let me bring up the video for you now. There's the handsome lad himself. All right. We've got a video and a video and a video. We're 3 videos deep. All right.
The Mystic Reacts, and today I'm reacting to Celebrating Interfaith Harmony, which was done by the BAPS in New Jersey at the Robbinsville Center. Today we'll be listening to a Sufi Imam, and we will hear his views, and let's see how it goes. This video was shared to me by Sky Guardian, my good friend Vinny, and thank you very much for sharing it. So let's get down to what this is all about.
Sufi Imam is a prolific writer who has written 3 books on Islam and its place in contemporary society. Sufi Imam, I would now like to request you to give your benedictions.
Very beautiful background. Backdrop's beautiful.
Indeed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin by invoking the name of the Almighty God, the one God, creator of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them, whom we Muslims call Allah and whom Hindus call Brahman, or Nirguna Brahman, whom the Katha Upanishad describes as one, absolute, beyond name and beyond form, beyond time, space and causality, eternal, immutable, and immutable. While we agree that God as such is indescribable, Muslims and Hindus also agree that God is describable. And we Muslims have 99 so-called beautiful names of God, and Hindus denote the describable God as Saguna Brahman.
You can see here that he's obviously done his homework. Mentioned the Katha Upanishad, brilliant, one of my favorite Upanishads, and the one Upanishads that most of us have at least read or heard of. The other thing is, although I think his description of Allah and Nirgun Brahman being the same, one and the same,
I also just remembered that I didn't do my prayer from the Katha Upanishad. Might as well do that now while I have the chance, so you get a taste of the introductory verse of such an ancient scripture. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine protect us both together. May the Divine nourish us both together. May our studies be vigorous and effective. And may we not mutually dispute or hate any. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment. And may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Anyway, back to Rahulji, observing the connection made between Nirguna Brahman and Allah.
I think it's a bit stretched, but I can actually go with that and think, in terms of the harmony aspect, yes, Allah does have both of the Nirgun and the Sagun, so it was nice of him to go through that. Very wonderful.
Of man in all our religions, and his highest achievement is to attain the bliss of consciousness of the absolute reality of God. And Hindus have a term called Sachitananda, which is a compound term of 3 words. Bliss Ananda, consciousness Chit, of the absolute reality Sat. To my dear Swami Maharishi and all of the Swamis here whose names I have been challenged in getting down, and to all my friends in the audience, I congratulate you on the inauguration of this magnificent, I wouldn't call it even a temple, it's like a complex of temples, of this Mahamandir here in Robbinsville, New Jersey.
So that is obviously Mahant Swamiji Maharaj, who is the leader of the Baps Swaminarayan Sampradaya. So my humble namaskar to him via this video. But just to go back a bit on what the Sufi Imamji said, was I liked how he explained Satchidananda. The only thing I would say is that Sat is existence, because it has to embrace all that is seen and perceived, as well as that is non-perceivable. It's that truth that is beyond both. But otherwise, the way he explained it, that the ultimate purpose of man is bliss, spot on. I love that. Really.
I will add to that, the reason why bliss ananda is the goal in the Hindu perspective is a beautifully explained point in the Vedas, where just as a rock is drawn towards the earth, just as a river is drawn towards its ocean, we are drawn to bliss as all things are drawn to their source, and our source is Satchidananda, the bliss of existence or truth, Sat and consciousness, Chit.
Really, really good. Let's get back to the video.
I pray that it serve as a focal point of all the mandirs that your community has established in America to help your community and the faith community at large.
Oh, and the music might be too loud. Thank you for telling me, dear G. Allow me to turn down our background music so that we can give better attention to our video. Thank you for your patience.
To attain Satchitananda. The Hindu tradition is an ancient one, and your insistence on maintaining your architectural and cultural tradition of building this Mahamandir as a traditional stone temple made of millions of pieces of handcraft limestone and marble is a powerful witness to your insistence on maintaining what is important and eternal to your tradition, and translating it and conveying it to the modern world in the here and now.
Totally agree. We have a mandir here by the Swaminarayans in Atlanta, and it's beautiful. I haven't been there yet, but I plan to. But I've been outside it. I've driven past it a few times. But I've been to the Baps Mandir in Neasden in the UK. Very beautiful. But I've seen pictures of the mandir that they're talking about in New Jersey, and it's pretty epic. I know today that on February 14th they had the grand opening of the Akshardham in Abu Dhabi, which I think is again an amazing thing, and the Prime Minister of India inaugurated it. So yes, absolutely agree that they do create beautiful temples that still have the beauty of the ancient, I must say. I really like what they do there.
I also pray in the spirit of harmony that the Swami who spoke earlier talked about and enhanced, that the positive relations that we nurture and build between the Muslim and Hindu faith communities here in the United States will serve to improve Hindu-Muslim relationships throughout the world, and especially in India. May our work together and cooperation together help such harmonious aims, and may the one God we both worship help you and help us in attaining this shared objective and enhancing the future relationship and cooperation between our faith communities. Amen, and I bless you all in the name of God. Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum.
That was a short one, but pretty impactful in the sense that you can see from there it was about harmonizing, but the very beginning was completely Advaita Vedānta. I don't think it's actually aligned to the Sampradaya of Swaminarayan. But
this is true. Reading through the Vachanamrut, which is the holy scripture of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there's actually a couple passages where Swaminarayan goes and attends a lecture on Advaita Vedānta, and he comes back in tears because he's heartbroken how the Nirguna Brahman aspect is given the forefront of attention. And that's certainly the same with Islam as well. The equivalent would be, however, the Swaminarayan Sampradaya loves the Saguna form of the divine. So that's a funny connection made between the Imam and Hinduism. But nonetheless, that is definitely where they overlap, and it is at that level of overlap which their common ground should be found.
Regardless, if it truly is about interfaith harmony, one, there has to be interfaith harmonious relationships within the Sampradayas in Vedanta, so whether that's Advaita Vedanta, Vishishta Advaita, or Dvaita, or any other Sampradaya that is out there. That's one thing that should be understood here. The other aspect that I find amazing is he really understands and has done his homework on what the similarities are. We can always look at differences and critique, and it can become close enough towards hatred and really horrible kind of conversations and discussions and debates, where it can become condescending and ridiculous. Really, we only have to have a look at some of the debates that we can find on YouTube, where it has gone down that route, and you can just see the obnoxiousness when we try to defend certain faiths. And
we can always look for differences, but I think our differences speak to the infinitude of the source which we come.
When we try to defend what we believe in. But what I really like here is that it's about harmony, it's about togetherness, it's about being connected, it's about being one, it's about seeing and maintaining those relationships throughout the years, and not only just throughout the years and here and now, but to make sure that they are strong and that we see what unites us more than what divides us. Although these messages I don't think people like. I think, if you want to be popular on Twitter or X or on social media, it's best to be negative and best to hate. But actually, if we had more voices that look to unite and say, okay, yeah, there are specific philosophical differences, but there's this that's common, and we can agree upon this. Yes, we do agree that both or all religions should respect each other and ensure that we live harmoniously, with compassion, with peace, and most of all, that we're calm and collected when we communicate with each other. So I absolutely agree, and I loved what the Sufi Imam said. I think it was on point, and it shows the oneness of what God is. Now, I know in Advaita we say that it's basically there's only really Nirguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman in the end is, a reflection.
That's true from the standpoint of Nirguna Brahman, that existence bases its relativity from the absolute Nirguna Brahman. However, that's at one layer of our being. perhaps the highest layer of our being, and from that perspective, we can say that all else is ultimately unreal. But that's not to dismiss the reality of the experience we have at other levels, even if they are more temporary. I've started to understand that the material existence, understood as Maya, is probably only mistranslated to illusory reality. Its illusoriness is not in terms of the meaning that we can gain from our experiences through our senses and mind, but if we are chasing after any permanent object in it, that's when the illusory quality kicks in. That the Maya is not the literal physical existence, but our ignorance of our spiritual existence. As long as we understood that, then we can even enjoy material existence from the standpoint of being established in the infinite.
But to be fair, it's the attributes that connects us. In the very beginning, it makes sense to have faith towards something that has attributes, that is compassionate, that is kind, that is loving. And having that bhakti, that devotion is essential. And without that devotion, the Gyan element of Nirgun doesn't settle as easy if we ignore the bhakti side. And I'm a strong believer that bhakti matters more than anything.
This comes from the trinity of yogas mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna elucidates 3 main paths toward the divine. Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge; Bhakti Yoga, the path of loving devotion; and the unmentioned one is Karma Yoga, the path of action. But Krishna says that all 3 paths are one. A true action is based in true knowledge and is for true devotion.
Bhakti is more important. Bhakti is the thing that binds knowledge and devotion together, and it goes hand in hand. You also need to have Gyan with devotion, knowledge with devotion. So that's one thing I wanted to just address. And ultimately, he mentioned Satchidananda. That's the ultimate understanding. That is what Nirgun Brahman is. So Sat meaning existence, Chit meaning consciousness, and Ananda meaning bliss. Essentially, that is what we are. The only thing that he didn't mention, which is the most important aspect of all of this, is that there is no real separation between us and God. In fact, we will go far to say that there is only God, and what we are mere kind of waves in that ocean. It's still water, it's still the same essence. The essence remains the same, but we are essentially just water. We are still essentially the ocean. So yeah, really, really great video. I really enjoyed reacting to this, responding to it, giving my final thoughts. And essentially, what we have to understand here now, what I would like to see more of on social media, and I have reached out to different sampradayas to communicate and have conversations. And the reason for that is because I want us to get along. I want us to converse with each other, see what is similar, and just have a nice chat instead of, doing this thing where I found when I used to do TikTok lives, it was about me defending Hinduism, or specifically Advaita Vedānta. But really, it should be about us connecting. But yeah, really great video. I hope you liked it. Let me know if there's any more videos you want me to react to. And I shall see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Take care. Namaste. Hello.
Namaste. What a beautiful soul. I love Rahulji. I also find it funny that the video that he's reacting to was sent in my Sky Guardian, and then Sky Guardian sent his reaction to me to react to. How far will you continue it, Sky Guardian? Are you going to send my reaction of his reaction to someone else to react to. We'll just have this like infinite video inside of a video inside of a video inside of a video. Layers and layers and layers. Not unlike the nature of existence. Originally, one source, and that source perceiving itself through many different lenses, and here we are today. So I enjoyed this video. I've actually watched this video because, you know, I do watch Rahulji from time to time, and Sky Guardian did send this to me in my own personal life to watch, but I enjoyed watching it with you all here. If there's any reflections you want to have together, I'd be grateful to do so. And if you ever have something to share for show and tell, you are welcome to go into the submission form in the link tree in my bio. Namaste. That concludes our show and tell, but not our Shravana. We still have yet to continue reading through the second chapter of The Journey Home. You had Nurji in mind, felt he could relate. Oh, that's very kind of you, very thoughtful, dear Sky Guardian Ji. Dear O Kids Believe in Me, you ask, how did I learn to be able to read scriptures in their languages, and how beautiful pronunciations of them? Oh, beautiful question. Well, I didn't start immediately by reading scriptures. I started exactly as you are, in this space. Since in this space I often use many terms that I'm familiar with, over time, I'm sure that you will naturally become familiar with them too, just as several minutes ago you had asked about the meaning of Nama. You've been paying attention. If you continue to do so, then these words will rub off on you in the same way that they rubbed off on me in sanghas that I would be a part of, or other spiritual communities. What's very unique about the language of Sanskrit, however, is that it does have a very precise pronunciation. You might ask why that's true for Sanskrit and not other languages. Well, for other languages, there's all sorts of dialects and accents that you could have. There's variation. But in theory, Sanskrit has only one correct way to pronounce everything, only one correct way to spell everything. And across thousands of years, and the many cultures that Sanskrit has influenced, Sanskrit should be pronounced the same. Academically, however, you will find there have been changes in the way that Sanskrit has been pronounced over the years. But truly, it is very minor compared to any other language. It's amazing just how consistent Sanskrit has been spoken. Correct pronunciation in Sanskrit is also an auxiliary discipline to the path of the Sanatana Dharma, the spiritual tradition which Sanskrit is from. It's considered an art form, correct and precise Sanskrit pronunciation. The reason why is not only to preserve the oral tradition which it was originally from, but also because since there's a whole yoga of mantra japa, of chanting these sacred sounds, focusing on each precise articulation of the mouth can deepen your focus in mantra meditation. All of that leads to a very precise way of speaking in Sanskrit. Dear Daily Light, you ask, is love the answer? Love is the question that answers itself. Thank you, dear Beeflomatics, for the heart me you had sent. Shri Mahalakshmyai Namah. And dear Anasek, thank you for your heart, me too. Om Kringalikaye Namah. I also welcome everyone that joined while we were watching that show and tell together. Namaskaram, dear Miyananda. Yes, it was like a chain reaction. Well put, dear Noor. Dear Michelle, you were practicing rolling your L's. Oh! And how are you at rolling them now? Arl, 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 arl. Definitely a favorite sound of mine. I think we must be all part of the same being, dearest Noor. Hello, dear Becca. Thank you. My day, my stream, my life has been well. I wish the same for you and everyone here. Welcome, Oliver. And hello, dear Jennifer. And Simon. Different waves on the same ocean. Tatastu. Dear user 224, you ask, have I ever had any quarter-life crisis thoughts? Sometimes, yeah. I'm grateful to have worked through most of them. At least most of the ones that have come up so far. Things like, what am I doing with my life? However, the more I just live in the present, the more I know that the future will take care of itself. That's perhaps my guiding light. You're in the depths of a crisis. It's from all the expectations in society. Does it really come from inside us, or does it come from what we see in the world around us, how we expect ourselves to be in relation to that? What I've learned is that all that really matters in life is being kind. Kind unconditionally, universally. Kind to your friends, kind to your family, kind to the animals, kind to plants, kind to your body, kind to mind. Just be kind. If every day you learn a new lesson about kindness, that's a good day. And if you didn't, well, be kind to yourself for feeling like you haven't, because you have. Picture it as a universal maxim. If everybody just strived to be kinder every day, wouldn't the world naturally improve? Isn't the biggest difference you could make in the world is having a kinder world? So be that person. Practice kindness. Sky Guardian, you ask, what about the tapeworm in the stomach? Be kind to your body. Thank you, dear Jackie. Hello, Adonis. Dear XSSK8, you ask, what do I think about autism and schizophrenia? I leave it to psychiatrists to express the subtleties of these conditions. I like to see them as two dimensions of life. There's a vertical dimension and there's a lateral dimension. People who experience themselves on the autism spectrum, they are very good at lateral conscious thinking. They can go really deep, one-pointedly on a subject, and you can see that in their conversation. Many autistic people love to go deep with a one-pointed conversation, just unpacking the layers after layers, going deeper and deeper. Or they go upwards and they generalize and abstractify higher and higher. We call that vertical thinking. People on the schizoaffective spectrum, they're really good at the complement of that, which is making connections between adjacent subjects, going from one idea to the other. You can often see that reflected in the conversation too, jumping from subject to subject. To balance both means to be a vertical and a lateral thinker. You explore the space, that you are happy to go deep when you want to go deep, or you're happy to be lateral when you want to be lateral. You follow the whole conversation wherever it leads around the thought space. Thank you, dear Mihai, for the heart me that you had sent. Dear Adonis, you share practicing kindness is one thing you always try to do consistently. I love that. Anyway, regardless of how our mind works, I hope here we can celebrate all the diversity in our cognitive abilities, the strength in each kind of mentality. I'd love to make a world where that thought of starting our day with the intention of kindness being enough and fulfilling is more available. Dearest Crossfires. I do feel very comfortable, dear user 224. I hope you are comfy. No, I don't have the qualifications to diagnose anything, dear Noor, other than a heart which is full of the possibility for more and more kindness. I can see that within us all. Dear user 224, you ask, do I think people are still affected psychologically from the pandemic? Absolutely. In fact, we're still affected psychologically from Grug throwing a rock at Ugg back in the caveman days. Everything that we go through as humans continues to have an effect. Like in the wave of a particle in the wave function of quantum mechanics, there's no start or stop to anything, only a gradual rise, a peak, and then a slow tapering ad infinitum. We will always be experiencing the effects of every part of our experience. Hello, dear Ariel. Hello, dear Akira. User 224, you ask, are people more closed off or hostile nowadays, do I think, in public? I don't look for that personally. You could look for that, but what would that do? It would only make us feel more closed off ourselves. I choose to see the ways in which society is growing, the ways in which we are coming together in harmony. There are challenges we have to face, and it's good to be aware of those challenges. But everyone's going through something that they're meant to. Whatever part of their journey they're on at this moment, they are meant to experience. If that means that they're feeling isolated, that's where they need to be at this time. What matters most is where I need to be at this time. And at this moment, my priority is to look for the good in others. Be kind, share love, make people feel at home in my presence so that nobody feels excluded. Good evening, dear Monica. Dear user 224, you ask, do I think it's a problem to shelter yourself too much? Well, that depends on your definition of too much. I would say that if you feel like you need some space from the world, maybe that's where you need to be right now. But if someone else feels like they need to get out of their shell at the moment, maybe that's where they need to be right now. It depends absolutely on the context of each and every one of our lives, and we could never generalize to the whole. We're all subjective beings, after all. And I trust your judgment individually. Sometimes we need space. We need that solidarity. We need to withdraw, to heal. Other times we need to expand. We need to go outside of our comfort zone, meet new people, experience new things. And we're all at different parts of that journey of expansion and contraction. And it's like the breath. You need your inhale just as much as you need your exhale. You can't go through life only inhaling. You also can't go through life only exhaling. Sometimes you need to inhale. Sometimes you need to exhale. They come after each other. But you share, if you regret sheltering yourself too much, thus becoming too reserved, how can you overcome the regret? By understanding that everything you are is still the same. In essence, every experience is a worthy one. You've still grown, you've still learned, you've still healed, and you're continuing to grow, learn, and heal. So forgive yourself for the expectations of how you thought your life was supposed to go. There is no should or shouldn't in life. There's only acceptance and resistance. If we want to live a more peaceful life, it's not about should be doing things we have, or shouldn't be doing things we have, or should be doing things we haven't. We cannot change the past, nor is the future arrived. You take care of what there is to attend to in the present, and accept that that's enough. Dear Noor, you made it a habit to say Alhamdulillah. I don't know if I can pronounce that better. You can let me know. I'm sure I can pronounce that better. Alhamdulillah. Something like that anyway. Thank you, I am alive. I love that. I often start my days with thank you for another day. Hello, dear lone wolf. Oh, I'm happy to have you here. Lauren, you thank your coffee every day. All right. I would love to continue where we left off in our book, The Journey Home. Let's see how our protagonist is experiencing Mother India for the first time. We are continuing the second chapter of the second act. May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. That night, Bhikkhu Vivekananda and I attended and awaken your heart. That night, Bhikkhu Vivekananda and I attended inside us. His name was Dilip. Would you like to hear something about the life of J. Krishnamurti? He asked. He's my teacher. Please, we responded. He crossed his legs, leaned back in his chair, and began. He told us that Krishnamurti was born in South India in 1895 and, as a child, was discovered by the renowned clairvoyant Charles Leadbeater. Both Leadbeater and Annie Besant, who was the leader of the Theosophical Society, proclaimed that the child was the quote-unquote vehicle of the same world teacher who spoke through Christ. Annie Besant educated the boy in England and brought him around the world, where thousands received him as the next Messiah and formed the quote-unquote Order of the Star around him. When he was 27, he formally accepted the role as the enlightened master and was soon worshipped by over 60,000 members. Dilip leaned forward, but in 1929, he rejected his position as master, dissolved his religious movement, and... Suddenly everyone rose as J. Krishnamurti appeared on the stage. An elderly man of 75. He was small and slender and impeccably dressed in a Nehru jacket and loose pants. His smooth-shaven face was worn by the lines of age, and his predominantly white hair gave him a scholarly distinction. His soft eyes glistened with enthusiasm as he welcomed the assembly graciously in a British accent. Soon enough, though, he launched into a call for revolution. Shaking his clenched fist, he declared, "You have too many gurus in this country. They have told you what to do, what to think, what to practice. They are the dictators." Pin-drop silence filled the tent. Truth is a pathless land, but yoga, with its breathing and postures, is nothing more than psychosomatic acrobatics. Ashrams and monasteries are concentration camps of the mind. He paused and looked right into my eyes. When you have a system of meditation, it is no longer meditation, but is utterly futile and has no meaning whatsoever. He told a story about the devil who was walking with a friend. They witnessed a man ahead of them on the road picking up a brilliant object. The devil's friend turned and asked what the man had found. The devil answered, "He has picked up the truth." "That's a bad business for you," the friend said. "Not at all," the devil replied. "I am going to help him organize it." To make his point more emphatic, Krishnamurti closed his eyes and slowed down his speech. We must bring about a revolution in ourselves. But how can this take place when our lives are superficial? Spending years in the office, living a shallow, empty existence. He leaned forward. Man cannot be enlightened through any organization, creed, dogma, priest, or ritual, nor through any philosophic knowledge or psychological technique. He has to find it through understanding the contents of his own mind, through observation, not through intellectual analysis or introspective dissection. I shuddered to think of how this discourse would affect my dear Bhikkhu Vivekananda. After all, he was the guru of thousands of monks in an organized monastery teaching meditation and ritual. I turned to him and whispered, "Bhikkhu, he is attacking everything you have dedicated your life to. What do you feel?" Bhikkhu's eyes widened in wonder, and he exclaimed, "What he says is true." Taken aback, I asked, "What are you going to do now, Bhikkhu?" His features turned grave. I will have to think seriously about this. For the next few days, we attended a series of talks given by Krishnamurti, where he demonstrated an amazing power of logic and conviction. Even though he was renowned as one who could answer any question and defeat any argument, on a personal level, he was gentle, kind, and humorous. I pondered his teachings. Eastern literature was filled with histories of enlightened saints who carefully followed their religion or their particular guru. How could I disregard them all on the basis of one man's realizations? However, Krishnamurti had impressed upon me that superficiality had no place in spiritual life. We must take personal responsibility. If we become overly attached to the externals, we may forget their very purpose, to purify the heart. One day, while sitting under the shade of a peepal tree with Bhikkhu, I asked if he knew what he was going to do. He ran his finger along the edge of his begging bowl. "Yes, Richard, I do," he said. "I will return to my monastery in Thailand." "Really?" I responded. "So what is your opinion of Krishnamurti's teachings?" He stared off into the middle distance in thought and then spoke. "I will follow Mr. J. Krishnamurti." A mischievous little smile played on his lips. "Shall I tell you how?" "Yes, please." "I will reject the teachings of the teacher who teaches us to reject teachers and teachings." He jested in his sweet Thai accent. Later that day, I bid farewell to Bhikkhu and wandered on foot to Connaught Circus, the commercial center of the city. Here I sat beneath an Ashoka tree and wrote these words to my family in America. "The way India is affecting me is beyond words. This is all that could be said. Deep love lies in my heart for all of you. I pray that you are well. Richard, New Delhi, India, December 1970. Designed by the British, Connaught Circus was laid out in an immense circle surrounding a spacious park. Exploring the enclosed walkway, my attention was drawn to a hand-painted sign that read, S.S. Brijabasi and Sons of Religious Artwork. Stacked on the sidewalk were hundreds of 8x10 prints. I was lured to look closer. The prints, full of marvelous figures that struck me as very odd, yet very beautiful, were like windows into a world of colors, mysteries, and magic. I wanted to keep one as an object for meditation. Looking into my small bag, I saw that I had barely enough change to buy a single image. For about an hour, I sat on the sidewalk searching the selection. Among the pictures was a beautiful woman with 8 arms holding swords, choppers, and spears, and riding a lion. Then a fantastical, somewhat pudgy man with the head of an elephant who was sitting on a mouse. Flipping through them, I found the picture of a handsome blue person with 4 arms, decorated with elegant ornaments, lying on a multi-headed serpent. Next was a tranquil yogi immersed in meditation with snakes wrapped around his limbs, the moon residing on his head and water gushing up from his hair. And then there was a heroic boy holding a spear while riding on a peacock. I came across a magnificent monkey wearing a crown whose eyes shone with devotion. Smiling, he flew through the sky effortlessly, carrying a mountain in the palm of his hand. As I rummaged deeper through the stack of prints, I discovered a person with 12 heads, each of a different species and multiple arms. Gruesome people were flying into and being devoured by his flaming mouths. This art was beyond description. The figures, unbelievable. Were they from fairy tales or mythology? I didn't know, but I felt the art was inspired. I wondered how I could possibly choose only one. Suddenly, from out of the stack of prints appeared a personality that affected me like no other. He had a bluish complexion, wore a peacock feather in his crown, and played a flute while posing gracefully beside a river. Behind him, a white cow stared lovingly, and a full moon bathed an enchanted forest in pearly light. Spontaneous tears filled my eyes. The person in the picture seemed to fill my very soul. Why was this happening to me? I felt him calling me. But how? It was only a painting, and of a fantastical person I didn't even know. His name was written on the bottom in an ancient alphabet I couldn't read. I gave whatever money I had to the shopkeeper, but it was not enough. He smiled and gave me the picture anyway, a picture that I would not part with during the rest of my travels. Who was this person in the image? For a long time, that was to remain a mystery. Thank you for listening as we conclude the second chapter of the second act of the journey home. I thought as much. I remember after the first chapter, there was a picture that fitted this description he has shared now. I think this is the image that spoke to his heart. You can see the moon in the background, illuminating an enchanted forest, a wonderful cow looking up at him, his blue complexion, playing a flute. If you have any reflections on the story so far, you're welcome to share them with me. Namaste. That concludes our Shravana. I'm glad you liked that, dear Black. You're very welcome, Lone Wolf. Thank you for listening, Adonis. And thank you, Black, for the 31 roses and a cap you sent whilst we read. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's transition now to Manana, the segment dedicated to exploring questions and answers and anything in our hearts and minds. Thank you, dear Shelby. All right. May you have a wonderful sleep, dear Jackie. Dear Hybrid Jen, you share, if you couldn't talk and your color was seen, it would be blue right now. That is indeed what the word Krishna means in Sanskrit. A dark blue, not unlike the sky or like space. Thank you, dear Neon Jello Pack, for the finger heart you sent earlier. Hare Krishna. And dear Reina Priya Ji, thank you for your trio of roses. Ram Ram. And Anazek, thank you for your 34 roses. Om Kham Jahnavyay Namah. Dearest Gwendolyn Priya, you share I seem very grounded tonight. Oh, do I? That's good. Dear Ashley, thank you for your heart me as well. Om Som Surya Namah. For those that enjoy this book that we read, but are unable to attend every time we do so, I encourage you to check out the recordings, which I clip out from these live streams and put them in a dedicated playlist on my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel. Well, the words I speak are Sanskrit, dear Black, but they speak on behalf of a tradition that's universal and includes all paths, regardless of where you come from, as we're all headed towards the same place. Nur, you share. If I weren't talking and looked blue, you might be worried. Indeed. It's important to breathe. Good evening, dear Black Heart emoji. Dear ASDF. Dear Hybrid Jen, you share you had to be around your dad earlier. Pardon me. You tried to avoid this. You feel awful. Well, don't try to avoid your feelings, whatever they are. Allow them to come. They are a valid expression of what we're going through and what we've experienced. Dear Urik, you share, you think he talks about karma yoga. That's right. Krishna. There is no greater proponent of karma yoga, the yoga of action, than Krishna. Dear Talitha, thank you for your heartbeat. Om Am Saraswatyai Namah. Dearest Becca, thank you for your finger heart as well. Om Ram Hanumate Namah. It is you, Black Heart emoji. It goes well with the Sanskrit word Hridayakasha, which means heart space. Dear Michelle, you share, whenever you look at paintings of Krishna, you feel like crying. It's not sadness, more like a beauty so vast it spills from your eyes. Oh. You have the heart of a bhakta, of a devotee. It's beautiful. Let yourself grieve, dear Hybrid Jen. Dear Rachel, you share, some people dive deeper into their ego when exploring spirituality. How do you keep your ego at bay? One of the most healing pieces of information I've ever come across is to understand that there's this word in Sanskrit, this beautiful, beautiful word. I'll tell you that word. It's Ahamkāra. Aham means I am. Kara means maker. So Ahamkāra means the maker of the I am. It is treated so delicately in Eastern scripture as one of the most important of the inner senses, the Antahkaranas. just as we have outer senses, like sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch, we also have inner senses, like the sense of thought, which is manas, the sense of discrimination, which is buddhi, and ahamkāra, which is the sense of self, the maker of the I am. It often gets mistranslated into ego, and in our Western context, we then attach a lot of our baggage to this idea. The idea of a false self, of an illusory identity, and thus we have to destroy it or kill it somehow. But if we correctly understand the sense of self in the context as ahamkāra, one of the inner senses, it is as vital of a part of our experience as is sight, sound, taste, smell, or touch. It allows our experience to become fuller. The issue is not in any part of our experience, it's in getting trapped in any part of our experience. If we're attached to sight, to the things we see, or if we're attached to thought, the things we pontificate about, or if we're attached to some identity, the things we feel a sense of self in. The solution, therefore, is to become all-inclusive in your experience. You allow yourself to have sight, sound, smell, taste, thought, intellect, and our sense of self as equal parts of this experience. And we strive to use these senses in more selfless ways. We use our eyes in order to look for people whom we may be of help to. We may use our ears to listen to our loved ones. We may use our nose to enjoy the fragrance of sweet incense as we meditate together. We use our tongue to speak joys and affirmations and enjoy prasadam, food that is a blessing from the divine. We use our thought to think positively. We use our intellect to discriminate between short-term gratification and long-term success and fulfillment. And we use our sense of self, our ahamkāra, as a blessing for us to relate with others. And we place that sense of self in as many places as possible so that our identity continues to expand and be more reflective of the whole which we are a part of. Hello, dear Crown Prince. Indeed, dear Noor, trying to answer who am I is an endless inquiry. If we could answer that question, it would imply that what we are is something finite. Because only the finite can be an answer to a question. The infinite could never be contained by words, by thought, by any expression of this world. We can only be as that. And so at the level of body and mind, we can only ever carry a piece of that infinity, but fret not, because that's okay. In fact, it is the nature of all of us existing simultaneously with our individual bodies and minds, which we together use to express the whole which we are each a part of and one with. Dear Hybridgen, you had mentioned that you are ready to see a psychiatrist. I trust your judgment. Taking care of your mental health is so important. If we don't have our mental health, what do we really have? Everything exists in our mind. Therefore, if we bring health to our mind, that is the first and necessary step to bringing health to everything else. Dear Okay, It's Believe in Me, Jackie, you ask if I travel to different places to be able to learn, to educate myself in what I do. I would love to physically travel the world one day. For now, my thoughts travel the world, and with the magic of the internet, I'm able to explore cultures at a personal level that wouldn't be possible in any other lifetime. I take full use of that, that I can. Dear Black, you had asked, is there anything that makes me angry? I'm grateful that everything that's made me angry thus far, I've learned to make peace with. But I'm sure that there'll be something else that arises anger within me. And when that happens, I strive to see it as the next challenge for me. That's the next thing to make peace with. And I hope to be inspired by that. The next challenge for me. That's the next thing to make peace with. And I hope to be inspired by that. Dear BKC, you ask, do I have children? How old do I look? Well, given that I'm 23, I haven't exactly had that many years to family plan. No, I don't have children at this point in my life, but I do try to look upon every child as a child of the universe that I am a part of, and may the motherly and fatherly forces of that same universe flow through me wherever I go. That's right, Noor. But I also consider myself a child with you. Oh, I'm happy to hear that they resonate with you, dear Darth Muffin. Dear Rick, you ask, do I usually hang out with friends at this moment in my life? Well, I'm hanging out with all of you now, aren't I? Sky Guardian, you're wondering, why did Consciousness Prince delete his channel and videos? I don't know, this is news to me. I was grateful to be on his podcast. I know that he is very inspired and looking towards making a difference through policy, through politics. I think he's running for some office. I'm not entirely familiar. But I wish him well in his journey, and I understand that when you're running for office, that you have to maintain a certain image. And I know that whatever he applies himself to, he will succeed at. Hello, dear Gons. Dear Rafi, you ask, what do I think of Advaita Vedānta? I think it is one of the most beautiful traditions that have stemmed from the Vedas, the early revelations of India. The ultimate idea that we are one in essence is so universal, both in the literal sense, but also in the colloquial sense of being found at the heart of all traditions and paths around the world. Thank you, Abby. Dear Okay, it's Believe in Me, Jackie, you wish I had the ability to heal anxiety and rid you from this deepening of thought so that you can be free. The only one that has that ability is you, dear Jackie. From our own inner demons, we are the only liberator that can free ourselves from them. So, I believe in you. Dear the favorite feminine, you ask, what makes me refuse to work an office job? It's not that I refuse as if someone has offered me. I've never been offered an office job, nor have I ever looked for one. For me, when I ask myself, what kind of career do I want in life? I don't want a career in life. I'm not inspired by the idea of climbing some corporate ladder. The highest ideal I have in life is just being the best version of myself that I can be today. I only live on a day-to-day basis. My goal for the world is not to generate money and have a family per se, but to bring more love into it, leave the world a better place than from where I found it. And I find that the best way I can do that is out of the office. Exactly what I'm doing here is precisely what I want to do in life. But I don't consider it a job because it's my free time. I love spending my free time with people like you. Just being kind as much as I can, holding space for you, and learning from all of your experiences also. And that's enough for me. Dear Okay, it's Believe in Me, Jackie. You ask, do I have asthma? I did when I was younger, but I grew out of it as I got older. Dear Rick, you ask, is there any reading that is a good place to start to learn about yoga and its cosmology? Most of the things I share don't come from reading. It's probably the biggest difference between Eastern and Western philosophy is that Western philosophy is all about reading. It's all about finding a book. There are lots and lots and lots and lots of books in the East, don't get me wrong about that. But the most dominant mode of learning is through listening. Finding someone that can speak with you directly about these things. So I recommend that you find someone that you like to listen to. As far as readings go, I really haven't done much, if any, in my life. So I'm not exactly a good source for literature. I like to listen, and I like to ask myself about these things and get an impression about what truths are already in my experience that I don't need to look out externally to. And the same holds true for all of us. We have everything we need within our experience already. But the most principal text on yoga is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. That is where Patanjali expands his Ashtanga yoga system, the system of Ashta, 8 limbs, Anga. Mind you, it's in Sanskrit, so you'd have to find a suitable translation or begin to learn some Sanskrit yourself. And thank you, dear Rusty, for your pair of roses, your finger heart, your 2025, and heart me. Am Namah Parashaktaye. Dear Nick, you ask, what is the difference between dharma and artha? Dharma is the righteous duty of an individual being. Artha is the righteous duty of the whole universe. We have an order in society that's called dharma, and there's an order in the universe that's called artha. There are many dualities between the individual and the universe. There's often a complementary term for each word in Sanskrit that applies for the individual and one that applies to the universal. Dear B, you ask, did I practice talking like this or did it come naturally? I had a speech impediment when I was younger. You could ask yourself, are speech impediments the natural way of speaking? Or do they arise through trauma or other means? And thus, when one wishes to speak in their natural way, does that take practice too? Dear Jen, you ask, do I do curly hair routine? No, I'm very blessed. This is just how my hair looks without anything. I get it from my beautiful mother. Thank you, dear BK, for the heart me you had sent to him. And Anazak, thank you for your friendship necklace as well. Brahmani Namah. Well said, dear Adonis. Oh, and thank you for your team bracelet as well, dear BK. Dear Nick, you ask, what is the difference? Oh, sorry, I already answered this question. The favorite feminine you had asked, how to combat impatience. Combat is impatience. So don't combat and you'll be patient. Dear Fiddleleaf, you ask, what is my translation of Sat Nam? Is it a holy name? It's the Punjabi of the Sanskrit Sat Nam, which means the true name. Sat means true. Nama means name. In fact, Nama is where we get the English word name. You notice at the end of the English word name is the vowel E. Indeed, in English, Old English, you'd pronounce it Nama, just as it was in Sanskrit thousands of years ago. But it has a very specific meaning in Sikhism, where it's used as a very holy saying, Sat Nam. It means the name of God is true. It's not so different from the saying in Hindi, Ram Naam Satya Hai, which means the name of God is the truth. Sat Nam. Thank you, dear Neon Jello Pack, for the subscription you bought as well. Never expected, as all of you are welcome to be here equally, regardless. But I endlessly look forward to the ways in which our paths continue to cross. Satnam Shri Vaheguru, Satnam Shri Vaheguru. Okay, it's Believe in Me, Jackie. You ask, what's my favorite snack besides blueberries and walnuts? I'm a big fan of junk food. I will admit to that. I love potato chips. But I also love chips made from other tubers. Yam chips. Apple chips are good. Dried vegetables in general make good chips. Dried fruit is amazing as well. Mango. Dried mango. I like nuts. And I love a good cookie. I love a good baked good. Dear bro, you ask how to know the difference between ego and higher self. You can only ever know your ego. And the higher self is unknowable because it is the one that knows. And the knower cannot be known to itself. The ego is the one that can be seen. The higher self is the one that sees. Thank you, dear Tan How You, for the heart me you had sent. Namo Maya Shakti. Dearest Miananda, you ask, how does an empath not absorb other people's emotions? As an empath, you are absolutely valid in the space you hold for other people's feelings. But if you judge their feelings, then their feelings affect you. That is to say, you hold space for another person's sadness or fear or anger. And if you allow that sadness or fear or anger to be there, no problem. Holding space for it is not what affects you. What affects you is when you apply a moral charge to it, like this person shouldn't be sad right now, or they should be feeling less afraid, or they're not allowed to be angry, for instance. If you allow the other person to feel exactly what they're feeling, then you could just be with that, no problem. Exactly in the same way you would want others to hold space for your feelings. That if you were sad, if you were angry, if you were afraid, that you wouldn't want another person to judge you for feeling like that. You'd want them to unconditionally accept what you're going through. And thank you, dear Gabriella. Thank you for your heart me. Om Kam Namah Prajapataye. Do I eat paint chips? That's funny, Noor. Everyone loves a warm, fresh baked cookie. Indeed, dear Adonis. Dear black heart emoji, you ask, does all the political tension lately stress me out? No, but I see how much it stresses other people out, and I hold space for that. I understand. Dear bro, you ask how to become enlightened like that. Let your lower self become more of a role model for your higher self every day. Which means just one aspect of the divine that you can refine every day. That adds up very quickly, compounds like interest. What are the aspects that arise from the higher self? Kindness, patience, love, compassion, creativity, empathy, that sort of thing. The most enlightened beings are always the kindest, the most compassionate, the most loving, the most creative, the most understanding, the most patient. Dear the favorite feminine, you ask, is there a secret for eating whatever and not putting on weight? Well, it's no secret, scientific truth, that if your calorie intake matches your energy output, then by the conservation of energy, also conservation of mass, you will remain the same weight. If you want to decrease the weight you gain without decreasing the food that you eat, then you must increase your energy output, which means spend more time with a higher intensity living life. And it doesn't even have to be physical. Chess players burn thousands of calories from just thinking and strategizing. If you apply your mind also, your brain uses a disproportionately large amount of calories compared to other organs of the same mass in your body. So if physical exercise isn't necessarily your thing, don't underestimate mental exercise, even for burning calories. But most importantly, love your body, take care of your body, and accept the curves and beautiful proportions of your body. If you want to lose weight simply because you want to look a certain way in society, your lesson to learn is not how to exercise or diet. Your lesson to learn is how to love yourself fully for how you are now. You are allowed to express your feelings, dear Simone. Hello, dear Dean, Lioness. Dear Dana, you share you're at a crossroads. How do you figure out the right choice? By understanding that the rightness of your life is not in the choices you make, but in how you make the choices. It's not about making right decisions, it's about making decisions right. What does that mean besides a poetic rearranging of the words? It means that whatever you do, if you trust yourself in that, if you believe that you'll be able to turn this into a meaningful experience, then your choice is automatically right, even if you chose the opposite thing, but did so with the same intensity. So don't hold yourself to such a weight that you're burdened by having to know whether this or that is right. Whatever you do, trust your judgment and know that you'll be able to make each situation right. And if it turns out that this was a decision you feel like you could have learned from making a different way, then next time, given the opportunity, that becomes a lesson that adds value to your life in yet another way. And many things are not absolutes, that once you choose this thing, you have to do it forever. You are often given a chance to back out of certain things in life too. Remember that your whole life really exists in this moment. As long as you feel content, happy with yourself in this moment, everything you need to take care of is here. Everything you need in order to take care of things are here with you now. Hello, dear Mama JJ. Dear Michelle, you share you have to drink high-calorie drinks because you really struggle to gain weight. I know how that goes, yes. My metabolism is very fast too. With age, it usually slows down too. But yeah, funny enough, giving your mind a break can actually slow down your metabolism too, and vice versa. I'm so happy that was helpful, dear Dana. Or Dana. You can tell me if you have a preferred pronunciation. Hello, Jackatus. Dear friends, you ask, do I believe in free will? The way I see life, energy goes where attention flows. This body works for us, not as us. We're not the body. So when the hand goes up here, that's not us going up here. When the hand goes down here, that's not us going down there. But we are influencing it through a very subtle chain of reactions. Our body bases its actions on the thoughts. What's in your mind determines what your body does. If you're thinking, I really need to go to the bathroom, and your body stands up and goes to the bathroom, you see the connection. If you're thinking, I can hold it in, I got this, and the body stays there, you see the connection. Where do the thoughts come from? Well, the thoughts come from our experience. Which thoughts we act on, that's decided by our intellect, our sense of judgment. Where does our sense of judgment come from? It comes from our sense of self. Where we place our sense of self in, that we seek to serve and take care of. Where does our sense of self come from? Well, from you. And who gets to decide who you are? You do. So by your free will, you get to decide who you are. And whoever you choose to be, your intellect then cultivates a mindset to complement that. And whatever your state of mind is, so the body works for that. So although we don't control our bodies directly, or even our minds, or our intellect, we do in each moment get to choose who we are, and that's our highest free will. Wise words, dear Dean, for Maggie. Now, I have a question of the day for all of you, if you're interested in exploring it with me. And thank you, dear Gwendolyn Brea, for your woolly hat. That looks very cozy. Om Namah Pashupataye Namah. My question of the day today is, Getting into what routine have you most benefited from? I'm interested in exploring this with you. Please answer as you feel free to do so, or just listen, read what other people have to share. Dear day late and $1 short. In the meantime, you ask, how do you stop being grumpy about removing snow every other day? You're exhausted and tired of moving it? Well, you're allowed to be exhausted and tired. Take that as an opportunity for self-care at another point in your day. If I lived near you, I'd help you with that. I'd come and shovel your driveway. I don't think I'm close, however. But please take care of your body, your mind. When your body is sore, make sure you spend extra time loving it. Massage your own body. Give yourself a nice bath or shower. Drink nice warm tea. Alright, here are some answers to our question of the day. Getting into what routine have you most benefited from? Drinking lots of water, shares Gwendolyn Priya. I love that. Speaking of which, let me take a sip. You just live in the moment, shares Lumi. Well, you know, it can be a routine to remind ourselves to be present. Dear bro, you share one word I've never seen before, pshinosis. You'll have to tell me about it. But adding to that, meditation, working out, journaling, and breathing. I love those things. Dear Mama JJ, you share you've never been able to get into a routine. 50 plus years, the struggle is real. That's okay. Routines don't have to be so rigid. They can be loosey-goosey, to your discretion. Watching these lives, shares Gina, it's like food for your soul. Aww. Well, I hope to make sure that the nutritional content is up there. But every now and then I like a little junk food. Paying attention to nature. I love that spirit semicircle. And you share making time for people and visiting, making it quality time. I like these. I like daily self-care routines, practicing mindfulness in every moment. Neangelo Pag, you share mindfulness, which includes meditation, journaling, and breathing exercises. I think you and bro would get along well. Dear Mama JJ, you learned how to run the snowblower yesterday, actually. You finally learned how to handle the beast. Listening to me, well, thank you, dear Karen. Miananda, you share writing 3 pages right after you wake up. A flow of thoughts, remembering dreams. Wow, 3 whole pages. That's very impressive. Yin Yoga, shares Angie. Nice to have you here, dear Angie. Lakonen, you share vacuuming your apartment regularly. It keeps your allergies away. Great idea. You just learned to plow, but you still shovel areas. That makes sense. Some areas you have to do manually. Hyperfixations, you share having a solid nighttime routine changed your life. Skincare, meditate, journal, read, no screens. I'm so happy to hear that. Dean, you share you naturally avoid routine. I am the same way, actually. You do journaling every day, shares a day late and $1 short. you have morning and night routines. I'm happy to hear that. Kendra, you share going to bed. Your favorite routine. Yeah, me too. Dear Mama JJ, you share when you do walks, though, you do feel better. I'm happy to hear that. I love walks. It's good to balance our structure with our flexibility. Divine masculine with feminine. Walking and stretching, shares a day late. Kendra, you share honestly taking your meds. Yeah, it's a good answer. Me too. Suddenly you can't remember any of your routines, shares Michelle. I know. Whenever we're asked things about our personal life, we can go blank. I'm like that too. Take your time. Hyperfixations you share for anyone struggling. Start small and be your own hype person. Celebrate every tiny win. Yeah, I love that. And Mommy Paints, you share your baby is the boss around there. Oh yeah. I remember my mom sharing with me that she was crying when I was in her womb because she would sleep like 15 hours a night and she'd think, oh my goodness, how am I going to sleep with my baby? But she told me that she was able to adjust her schedule to be around the time that I sleep. She could sleep whenever I slept. That I was the beating drum to her orchestral rhythm in life. You were just doing your routine, dear Noor, praying at least 5 times a day. I love that. Anazek, you share mostly meditation, long walking when the weather is nice, reading, and still something. Beautiful. Mommy Paints, you share, you're just saying good luck with the routine with a new baby. The baby creates the routine. A day late, you share that you walk nearly every day no matter the weather. Started many years ago. That's so good for you. Dear HS, you ask how to handle the feeling of falling socially, being so alone. Are you friends with yourself? Most importantly. Sometimes when we get ahead with our friendship with others, we can fall behind in our friendship with ourselves. And when we fall behind in our friendship with others, we can get ahead in our friendship with ourselves. Become your own best friend, and you will never be alone. If you can enjoy the company of your own presence, then everyone else, if they come or go, is a bonus no matter what. Noor, you share, it's a great break from everything, just connecting with the Creator, and a good reset and reminder. I love that. Yeah. You know, Noor, the next time you're on here and it's time to pray, would you tell me so that I can, in spirit, join in with you and spend a few minutes praying with the Sangis here as well? Would you do that for me? Dear Sarah, you share you're still getting used to routine, mental wellness, physical wellness, and most important, spiritual. Yeah, me as well. I'm always grateful for your presence, dear Anne. Much love, dear HS. You're alone all the time, a day late, but you love it. It's peaceful. I know how you feel. Namaste, dear Isaac Pai. Awesome, Noor. I look forward to it. Yippee! I wonder which direction Mecca is from where I live. What would be closer? Dear Spinudha, you ask, do I think that most relationships build on mystery, and when it's gone, the interest also goes away? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. That's the divine masculine, the infinite mystery. And the divine feminine is the exploration of that mystery. So you need both. You need to have something infinite about you that could never be explored all in one sitting. And you need a receptivity to do that exploration, to stay curious about each other, never make conclusions about who the other person is. Imagine if every day your beloved was someone that deeply fascinates you. Every day there's something new to learn about them, a deeper part of their soul to witness, to experience. How wonderful would that be? Hello, dear baby. Relationships are a never-ending mystery. I love that cosmic comedy reader. How are you doing, dear Katharina? I have been praying for you. Noor, you share one of the best times is when you happen to wake up around 4 or 5 in the morning. Ah, yes. Brahma Muhurta, the hour of God. Dear sirens in the bath, you ask, why is life on earth so painful and humiliating? Because it's exactly what the universe needed to experience in order to understand its whole. That we, as part of that oneness, have become many. And in that separation, in that manyness, we learn the value of being whole, of being one, of being interconnected. And we feel pain because it's so real, so alive. We're so vulnerable, so tender in our authenticity. And we get humbled by it so that we can learn how to hold space for more and more things without getting caught up in any of our limitations. It's beautiful, dear Michelle. Yeah, I'll try that, Noor. Yeah, I would like to see my Qiblas, or my Qiblah, to use the singular, I assume. I do wonder if you've been a practicing Muslim and traveling the world, do you gain a sort of internal compass where you can feel the direction of Mecca? I'm so curious about that. Kind of like how birds have their internal compass and they know which is north, which is south. I would imagine that after years of becoming acquainted with the direction, that you could spin around with your eyes blindfolded and then in the middle of a field go, that direction. And thank you, the gingerbread lady, for your rose. Namo day late. You can't imagine sharing your space with another every day. Well, we all need our alone time. That's true. It's beautiful, Noor. Yeah. When the first rays of light are parallel to the horizon. Hare Krishna, dear HS. Hinduism, Indian culture is so influential on the world's tapestry of spirituality. One can hardly be spiritual without acknowledging the effect, the spirituality of India. And it's not a national thing. It's a geographical thing. It's about something in the rivers, in the Himalayas, in the subcontinent of Bharat. Every culture has its own gift to the world. The gift of an all-inclusive formulation, the Sanatana Dharma from India, is certainly its finest contribution. Dear Noor, are you sure you have used the sun before to guesstimate northeast? Smart. I like that. Hello, dear Jaderade. Hello, dear Rin. Dear Anne, you ask, do I ever get angry? If I look back at the anger I felt in my life, it has been a continual tapering away. And the times between my sense of anger arising has been prolonging and prolonging. I feel less and less caught up in anything to be angry at. Sorry, I can't hold space for any kind of misogyny here. A person is not peaceful in absence of a partner, regardless of their gender. People whom feel that their partners irritate them must be on a learning journey to become better partners themselves. I wish you well in that journey. May your all partners bring you peace. And let us not propagate the stereotype of certain partners of certain genders causing a lack of peace in one's own life. The source of both peace and unrest exists within. We have a responsibility to take accountability for our own emotions. Both misery and joy are created within. No other person in the world is responsible for that. Dear Jaderade, your answer to our question of the day is journaling. Journaling what you're grateful for each day, and it has really turned your thinking around. I'm so happy to hear that. Dear Ruby, you're wondering, there is a sock over my microphone. Indeed, but not just any sock. Dear Marcus, you share you started doing yoga almost every morning for the past 6 months. Oh, I'm happy to hear that too. Jaderade, you share also you routinely thank the universe for showing you that things are already solved. What a great affirmation and manifestation. Dear Troy, you wonder how old I am. In this body, 23. Hello, dear Jackie. I'm going to pause the question of the day there for now. If you have any answers in the chamber, you're still typing out or you want to explore with me, you are welcome to do so. Dearest Maggie, you ask, how do we let things not bother us? There's always going to be something new that bothers us. That is the price we pay for keeping an open heart. An open heart means you're going to be sensitive. If you can take care of your own sensitivities and not judge yourself for them, if you can be open-minded to your own feelings and reactions, that's enough to make peace with yourself. That you are allowed to get overstimulated. You are completely valid to have emotional responses in a certain way. Exactly what you've been through in the context of your life makes sense to the person you are right now. When you accept your own sensitivities as part of you, then you can take care of them better. Set boundaries with people that may unknowingly or knowingly overstep them. Give yourself ample time to recharge, understimulate, and above all, try not to label all of the experiences in your life as good or bad, helpful or unhelpful. Just live and let be, in the sense that every experience you trust can be one that you're meant to have in this moment. Even if it's an uncomfortable one, you can still learn and grow in this moment. Breathe and find something to be grateful for, no matter what other adversities you may be experiencing simultaneously. And thank you, dear Golden Goddess, for your heart me. Om Ganganapataye Namah. Dear Troy, your routine has been starting your days with mantras every morning. Oh, how I love that. I relate in that too. Ruby, you share that you routinely remind yourself that every emotion you have ever had has passed. Nothing is permanent. Beautiful. Dear Greg RG, you share you just walked like 3 or 4 miles home from a homie's house. Home from a homie's house. That's some good alliteration. I love long walks like that. I think almost anyone else would think you're crazy, but if you are, then I'm definitely just as crazy as you, if not more. Dear Lone Wolf, you ask, how do I cope when people are cruel to animals? You get angry, as you don't know another way to feel. It makes sense. Anger is a way of standing up for the vulnerable. And you can use that anger to ward off predators, like someone causing harm to a vulnerable animal. You can use that anger to stand up for those that are unable to stand up for themselves. But never underestimate the value of engaging in an action through peace. Imagine someone trying to get a reaction out of you, purposefully trying to stir the pot, and no matter what they do, you remain centered, peaceful, stable in your feelings. Doesn't that send a powerful message in its own way? That from a place of peace, compassion, and empathy, you state your boundaries. You explain the importance of sticking up for life, no matter how big or small, different or familiar. No matter what the emotional response of the other person is, you are still. That carries a presence that cannot be ignored. Even if their face doesn't change, their heart will. Even if mentally they don't appear to be affected consciously, they will subconsciously. You plant the seeds with your own presence. You're very welcome, Jin. You're welcome too, dear Maggie. And thank you to Late D. Dear David, you ask, does it make it more difficult to see the true self because we are programmed to be separate? I think even in our differences, we can see the unity of our whole. If you just look at how different we all are, doesn't that speak to a universe that's so vast, so infinite, that it can never express itself in one way in particular? And so, all of our differences are, deep down, an expression of an infinite unity that can only ever be expressed in many ways, all at once. Dear A Literal Bug, you ask, do I have any recommendations for mantras to help with grounding? Yeah, pick a mantra. All mantras are grounding. Whatever one feels the best for you. I like to chant many in this live stream, hoping that if one of them feels good when you hear them, that you can continue chanting it in your own time. The mantra that I often use to ground is called the Maha Mantra, M-A-H-A, meaning great mantra. It is really simple. It's just 3 names in the revocative form. Hare, Rama, and Krishna. And the pattern is very simple. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1. I think I messed up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare means the one whom steals your heart. Krishna means the one whom attracts your mind. Rama means the one in whom you dwell. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's also simply known as the Hare Krishna mantra or the Hare Rama mantra. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's also simply known as the Hare Krishna mantra or the Hare Rama mantra. For a moment. If my connection has returned, please let me know. If I am back. Good to know. You like my hippie hair? Thank you, MD. Dear Stevie G, you ask, if you do something your ego is craving or attached to, why does love seem to not be present? Everything we do is out of love. It's just a question of whether it comes from a limited love or an unlimited love. And limited love will never feel true, because true love is unlimited. If we are giving our love exclusively, and by exclusive I don't mean in the romantic sense, but I mean such that we are not bringing any kind of love to another part of our experience. Like you could be loving someone, having an intimate relationship with them, but are you loving your body, your mind? You still have a duty to love your body and your mind. The other person isn't given full responsibility. That would be selfish. We have a responsibility still for us to bring our own love, adding to theirs, to our body and our mind. And are we bringing love to other people in our life too? You don't have to have a romantic relationship with everyone. You can just have as many as you want. But are you bringing at least some kind of love to everyone else in your life as well, including yourself? Then it's fulfilling. It is a drum pattern, indeed. Left, right, left, right. Left, left, right, right. Or no, right, right, left, left. Love is the highest frequency. I like that, Jim. Good night. Okay, it's believing me, Jackie. I just love how everyone said good night to you. That's so beautiful. Dear Caleb, you ask, have I ever done any shamanic experiences? No. But I am sure the experiences I've had in different contexts are very similar to those that you may find in a shamanic one. All paths bring us into contact with the very same source. Jin, you ask, where am I from? You're from Denmark. I'm from Canada. Also a cold country. I think it's time for another episode of say it with me, G. Ruminations. Nice to meet you too. Let's continue where we left off. This poem is called When Sand Suffices. When you have no cleansing water, sand suffices. The prophet gave this rule to those in need, and still it continues. Do you know why, O faithful ones? Listen to the truth the wise reveal. Often in the desert, water is unseen, but for the traveler, sand abounds. From the desert I will guide, the one who calls me guide, to the place where living waters flow, to the garden love encompasses. There bathe in abundance, drought dispelled, for once you've washed in that stream, the need for sand disappears. Freed of any method, purely by spirit you'll be ruled. O Master, your exalted soul has seen the truth through every veil. That poem's called When Sand Suffices. Seems we have many Rumi admirers here. Let's read another poem by Rumi. This poem is called Who Are You and What Do You Want? Which is how I answer my door. He said, Who is at your door? Sorry. Who is at the door? I said, Your humble slave. He said, Why have you come? I said, To offer salams. He said, How long will you wait? I said, Until you call. He said, How long will you boil? I said, Until you resurrect me. I laid claim to love, swore oaths of love, and told how I lost all power and position for love. He said, The judge asks to see your witness. These tears, these pale cheeks, I said. Your witness has bloodshot eyes and cannot be trusted, he said. I said, By your high justice, they are just and true. He said, Who was your companion? I said, Your gift of imaginal vision. He said, What called you here? I said, The fragrance of your cup. He said, What do you want? I said, Faithfulness and intimacy. He said, What do you want from me? I said, Your subtle grace. He said, Where is the greatest pleasure? I said, In Caesar's palace. He said, And what did you see there? I said, 100 fascinations. He said, Then why is it so desolate? I said, For fear of thieves. He said, Who is the thief? I said, Whatever challenges our vanity. He said, Where is safety? I said, In abstinence and pure consciousness of God. He said, What is abstinence? I said, The way of peace. He said, Where is catastrophe? I said, In the street of your love. He said, How do you travel there? I said, With integrity. Silence. If I were to utter more, you would be completely gone, left without a door or roof. Thank you for listening to the poetry by this Persian Sufi mystic, Rumi. This has been another segment of Ruminations. May we seek our deep inner sanctuary. May we embrace calm, inner introspection. And I invite you to share silence with me. But do not be confused as if silence exists between the words we speak, for silence pervades it underneath, just as a canvas pervades its painting, no matter how unique. May we transmute our vanity into sacred growth. That concludes another episode of Ruminations. I am happy you did, dear Noor. Good night, dear Gina. Welcome, Akasha. Radhe, dear John Tyler. All right. I would like to begin to wrap up this live stream with a meditation. If you'll join me for our final segment, we have a nididhyasana to attend to. For tonight's very simple meditation, let us be guided into a blissful mind. Find a position that feels comfortable for you. One where you're not straining any muscle, nor will you feel like you could fall asleep, unless you want to fall asleep. That's allowed too. Let's bring our attention to our breath, our life force. Taking a big inhale, releasing, dissolving any tension left inside you. I want to guide you through each of the 7 main chakras, starting with the Muladhara chakra, which represents potential in our latent state. Feel a kind of stillness. A stillness that isn't empty, but full. And in that fullness, there is a dying wish to live. As you contemplate on the feeling of stillness, watch, observe, see how it naturally expands into a sense of desire. You want to do something. That stillness wants to get up and out. In that space, creativity emerges. An urge to bring something more into this experience of life. To add to the experiences of this world. That is the Svarishtana chakra. Feel that urge, be with it, don't suppress it. Let your energies rise. Focus on that feeling of wanting to add to this world. And notice how it naturally transforms into an intention to create something of value, something unique, something that only you can offer, something personal. There's a sense of healthy pride in your purpose. You feel that power. You believe in yourself. That is the Manipura chakra. Being one with that feeling of unique purpose. Watch as that rises to become a sense of love, hope, in that purpose, in that power, you bring a kind of love. And this love is starting to feel good, starting to bring you just a hint of a most wonderful and divine feeling. You have so much empathy, so much compassion, and that is how your purpose will be achieved. This is the Anahata chakra. You feel that unstruck sound of love. Follow its blossoming upwards. Notice how that love demands to escape you. How that love takes on a voice of its own. You feel that this love is an outpouring from your own divine source, which we are all a part of. We have all been gifted the ability to love. With that, we are instruments of the voice of God. As that intention crystallizes, you have reached the Vishuddhi chakra. As it rises further, you get a sense of divine vision. Seeing from the perspective of the divine means to look for all those whom you can express your own innate divinity to, and see their expression as a reflection of your own. On each level, you are a participant of life, moving inwards towards the core of existence, radiating outwards. You have reached the Ajna Chakra. And if we stop here, it will feel very peaceful, very comfortable. But I must confess, I wish to disturb your peace and bring you into something even higher than Shanti, peace. And that is Ananda, bliss. A kind of bliss that gets under your skin. A kind of bliss that compels you to never meditate again. A kind of bliss that tells you to forsake everything you know. Peace is not the end of your journey. It's only the beginning. I want you to feel that part of you that wants to get out, that can't be held back anymore. You have a certain electricity in you, burning to be free. Feel that bliss, that ecstatic compulsion, as though you were going to explode. Be with a presence so powerful, you feel like you could just evaporate. Sense that vibration, which is so intense you don't know if you'll survive. Feel as though you are illuminated by 1,000 suns. Tingle with euphoria. You are a divine expression, and that divinity has not come here to rest. It has come to dance. So dance. Be free. Be unenslaved. Go where love takes you. In that infinite fun, all seriousness dissolves, and there's only sincerity of play. That is the Sahasrara Chakra. And when you are ready, if your eyes were closed, rub your hands together like you were starting a fire. Place them over your hands, your eyes very gently. Feel the warmth against your eyelids. Blink, wiggle. And give yourself a hug for meditating. Or a pat on the back. Or blow yourself a kiss. Namaste. That concludes our meditation, our Nididhyasana, and with it, our Sangha. Grateful to be here. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the space. I love your quote, dear Gwendolyn Priya. You can learn more about a person in an hour of play than a year of conversation. It's beautiful. Hello, dear Riri. Hello, Val. How are you? I have been praying for you. You're very welcome, dear Jake. Thanks for participating, dearest Melinda. Thank you, dear Michelle. I will eat something. And if it's time for you all to take care of your bodies, please do so. Food, water, breath. I love to see the positivity flowing between each other. Thank you, John Tyler, for your pair of roses. Om Sadhyo Jatam Prapadyami Sadhyo Jataya Vai Namo Namah Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavaswabham Bhavodbhavaya Namah. Sounds delicious, dear Chin. And thank you, Neon Jello Bag, for your tiny. Yippee! Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy too, dearest G. Nighty night, Omis. Love received and reciprocated, dear Sangha. Beautiful thing to say. So, as we end, let us embrace our playful inner freedom. I'm grateful for my moderators for helping keep the peace. And I hope you know that these live streams are recorded and uploaded onto my YouTube channel, Yamsox Lives, along with the snippets. You can find them there. It's all linked in the link tree in my bio. If you want to stay connected, my inboxes are always open on Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, email. There's also the Discord server, Hridayakasha. Those are all the icons at the top of the link tree in my bio. Enzo, you ask, is the mind attached to awareness or vice versa? Awareness has a mind. Mind is the mirror of awareness. And we can be attached to what we see in the mirror, not realizing that it's only a reflection. Nur, you share, when we forget our divine connection / creator, the creator forgets us, and in turn we forget ourselves. And therefore, when we remember our divine connection, Creator. The Creator remembers us, and in turn, we remember ourselves. If there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive for you next time, please let me know. Hold me accountable. Keep me humble. I'm begging you. Please. Namaste, Maya. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to the light, from death to deathlessness. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Thank you, dear Noor. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Satnam. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom. Namaste. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment.